So Sharon Osbourne has found herself with both feet in that proverbial hot water and may find herself without a job depending on how this goes forward, as she's under investigation by CBS. Why? Because CBS is investigating the talk episode featuring Sharon Osbourne's ism comments. Now, if you don't know what this is tied to, the article will go into it a little bit more in depth, with comments and on. But essentially, we're talking about blowback because of commentary sparked by the Meghan Markle Oprah Winfrey interview. If you didn't see that, essentially, Meghan Markle was talking about how it was to be around the royals, essentially calling them an ist institution. And yeah, some people commented on it, and some people commented on it in ways that cost them their jobs, aka one Piers Morgan. If you haven't seen the Piers Morgan comments, we'll look at that too in just a moment. But Sharon Osbourne stuck up for Piers Morgan. Why? Because she's friends with the guy. She was told by one of her co-hosts that the reason that he was fired, it wasn't just because the things he said were incendiary, it's because those comments, they were also ist. So Sharon Osbourne asks her co-host to educate her on how those comments, they are ist, and that it doesn't just spark blowback. No, it sparks an entire investigation that may well end with Sharon Osbourne being terminated and lambasted on the show as well. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. So hey there to all you fine folks, by the way. Now, before we get into this, I want to make something I'm talking about perfectly clear. I don't like CBS, and I don't like Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne, it goes further than Hollywood and celebrity, too. This is basically an incendiary personality. They love to go out. They love to throw people under the bus. And because of The Talk, which is a CBS platform, they've been able to do that with impunity for years. See, CBS, they wanted something controversial. Again, they wanted something incendiary. And people like Sharon Osbourne, they are all too happy to throw people under the bus. And again, CBS has let them off the hook forever with it. Look at what they did to Johnny Depp, for example. In the middle of a case where you have all of this stuff coming out about a certain nameless party, stuff that talks about that person being the aggressor, not the aggrieved. Sharon Osbourne doesn't care. She tries to do damage to reputation and occupation. But at the same time, that's why I find this move by CBS wrong, because they allow it in so many other fronts. But here, if this person had a wrong-think opinion, oh no, can't have that wrong-think opinion. Can't ask for someone to be educated about why something's wrong. You could get fired for that or on. So checking out the article here, the episode, it saw Osbourne asking co-host Cheryl Underwood to quote-unquote educate her on why remarks made by Piers Morgan, who she previously defended, were ist. Now this, by the way, this is a response to blowback. And there has been a lot of blowback to this. You have seen blowback come from the media. You've seen blowback on social media as well. So CBS, they decided they were initiating an investigation over an episode of The Talk that sparked controversy after co-host Cheryl Osbourne defended Piers Morgan's comments about Meghan Markle and asked fellow co-host Cheryl Underwood to quote-unquote educate her during the conversation. Now, I love how the network, CBS, they respond to this, by the way, because they not only respond to it with that cookie-cutter answer, but at the same time, it doesn't fit what they've been doing for years, and it doesn't fit what they're doing right now either. Quote, "We are committed to a diverse, inclusive, and respectful workplace. All matters related to Wednesday's episode of The Talk are currently under internal review." Now, make no mistake, when they say all, that gets them off the hook because they're not focusing solely on Sharon Osbourne in the commentary. But it's all about investigating Sharon Osbourne. They're not investigating anybody else because, again, she threw out that wrong-think opinion. Now, what they say here, too, in this cookie-cutter answer, it annoys me to no end because it is an out-and-out, unabashed lie. I mean, when they talk about respectful workplace, for example, respectful to who exactly? Because the people on that panel, they aren't respectful to one another. They aren't respectful to guests. They go out, they vilify, they slander, they damage occupations, they damage reputations. You can't tell me that there's anything respectful in that. And CBS, they know what kind of show that they put on. In fact, they encourage that because that'll bring in views. Now, there's another word here that people love to throw around, and that word, it's called inclusion. With inclusion, are we just talking about skin tones? Are we just talking about gender or sexuality? Or are we talking about opinions, even wrong-think opinions? Let's see where they stand. And you already know where they stand, by the way. Now, the way that this comes together is essentially this. During the episode, we have Underwood asking Osbourne about her support for Piers Morgan in the wake of remarks that he had made regarding Markle and Prince Harry's CBS interview the previous Sunday. So she's trying to put her on blast, trying to say, hey, where you made these comments there, how exactly are you standing with those? Now, on Good Morning Britain, Morgan had called Markle a liar and suggested that her story in the interview about feeling, I'm going to say, ending it all, this platform doesn't like that word, they weren't true, prompting over 40,000 viewer complaints and Morgan's resignation from the morning show. Now, just to add this with this controversy here, on a personal level, I found those statements to be repugnant. As somebody with a mental health background, I would see people, with hopelessness, conveying worthlessness. You see this all the time, and you see society, it's not willing to accept that, and I hate that. At the same time, Good Morning Britain pretending that Piers Morgan wasn't on that show to make comments like that, I find that to be repugnant too. They brought him on. In fact, he saved that show because he's controversial, and it's interesting how when they get real controversy, like I said, they shied away from it. But then you had this comment here. What would you say to people who may feel that while you're standing by your friend, it appears you're giving validation or safe haven to something that he has uttered that is ist, even if you don't agree? Am I saying it right? Underwood said. So she said here that what he's saying, this stuff isn't just insensitive. It isn't just crass. It goes further. It's ist. How are you going to respond to people that say that about it? Now, her response to this was by questioning where Underwood had heard Morgan say any type of ist mark whatsoever. Educate me. Tell me where you heard him saying ist things. I very much feel like I'm about to be put in the electric chair because I have a friend who many people think is an ist. So that makes me an ist, right? She's asking that. Now, growing irate, Osbourne carries on. How can I be an ist about anybody or anything in my life, she said, cursing as Underwood went to a commercial break. When the show returned, she continued demanding Underwood explain what was ist about Morgan's comments and added, and don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me. Now, the reason that I say this could end Sharon Osbourne working at the Talk, by the way, is because of the way this is playing out. She's already doing the public apology tour. That's usually the end-all, be-all. You can see statements here where she's doing that. She would have to go to other networks probably and talk about it too. But on the show, she said, I'm truly sorry. I panicked, felt blindsided, got defensive, allowed my fear and horror of being accused of being ist take over. But you know what? That didn't end everything. You still have public blowback. You have the old co-host of the show saying things like this. I'm old enough to remember when Sharon complained that I was too ghetto for the Talk. Then I was gone. Now, when you have comments like that, you have other people saying you're ist. CBS, they're launching an investigation. At worst, I'm going to say that you're not only going to see that person dragged through the mud, but you may see them fired. And that, man, that's an interesting outcome, isn't it? But anyway, let me know how you think this will play out. Do you think Sharon Osbourne might actually get fired? I could see it depending on how it goes, actually getting her fired. But yeah, you let me know about this. As always, too, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff possible. Without you, none of it works, so thank you. Thank you very much. If you want to help out the channel too, there are links in the description. Check those out. Patreon, PayPal, all of that good stuff. But you being here, that matters, so thank you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.